Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about a book that genuinely changed how I think about studying, and honestly, how I approach any big task in life. It's called How to Become a Straight A Student by Cal Newport, and trust me, this isn't your grandma's study guide. You know the feeling, right? The one where you're in college, surrounded by people who seem to be effortlessly getting us, while you're pulling all-nighters, chugging coffee, and still feeling like you're constantly playing catch-up. Maybe you even think, am I just not smart enough? Or do I have to sacrifice my entire social life to get good grades? I've been there, and so have many of my friends. We tend to believe that earning top grades means you have to be a grind someone who lives in the library and studies an excessive amount. But what if it told you that's actually a complete myth? What if the secret isn't about working harder but about working smarter? That's exactly what Cal Newport explores in this book. He didn't interview professors or self-proclaimed academic gurus. Instead, he went straight to the source, actual straight-up college students from top universities like Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. And here's the kicker: he specifically filtered out anyone who achieved high grades just by studying an insane amount. He was only interested in students who found smarter, more efficient ways to succeed. The core message, the big takeaway from this book, is that brute force study methods are incredibly inefficient, and there are better, less painful ways to learn and score high. So, what's their secret? It all boils down to a simple formula: work accomplished equals time spent multiplied by intensity of focus. Most students, as Newport puts it, engage in pseudo-working. Think about it: you're in the library for 8 hours, but you're also checking your phone, chatting with friends, staring blankly at the page, or just generally distracted. You're spending a lot of time, but your intensity of focus is super low, so you accomplish very little. Straight A students, on the other hand, maximize their intensity to minimize the time they need to spend. It's like doing a full day's work in just a few focus bursts, leaving the rest of your day free to actually live your life. The book breaks down these strategies into three main parts: building your study basics, conquering quizzes and exams, and mastering essays and papers. Let's dive into some of my favorite insights. First up, study basics. This section tackles the foundational stuff, starting with time management. Now, I know what you're thinking: time management? Ah, so boring, so rigid. But Cal Newport offers a system that literally takes 5 minutes a day. It's not about cramming your schedule, it's about reducing stress by getting all those deadlines and to-dos out of your head and onto a calendar. You just jot down new tasks on a list during the day, transfer them to your calendar the next morning, and then take a couple of minutes to realistically plan what you can get done that day. Moving less urgent tasks to later. It's incredibly flexible because, let's be real, college life is unpredictable. This little planning ritual, as one student, Doris, puts it, is critical for balance. Then there's the big one: procrastination. This book has such a refreshing take on it. Instead of telling you to magically stop procrastinating, it says, you don't defeat the urge to procrastinate, you sidestep it. Some work just sucks, and you're naturally going to want to put it off. The trick is to have battle plans in place. One of my favorites is the word progress journal. You simply write down what you plan to do, and at the end of the day, you record whether you did it and why or why not. As Newport says, having to record in ink on paper that you procrastinated over a task for no good reason is a powerful blow to your ego. It forces you to be honest with yourself. And your ego, wanting to avoid looking lazy, actually kickstarts your motivation. Another great tip is to make an event out of your worst tasks. Go to an obscure coffee shop, a distant library, or a place you wouldn't normally study, and tell everyone you know what dreadful task you're going there to conquer. The novelty and the public accountability really help you get started. And don't forget to feed the machine, stay hydrated, and choose energy-boosting snacks to keep your brain performing at its peak. Okay, so we've got time management and procrastination covered. Next, the book tackles when, where, and how long to study. The short answer: study early in isolation and take a break every hour. Most students gravitate towards studying at night, thinking it's less interrupted, but your brain is actually winding down then. The morning and early afternoon are your prime focus times. And for where? Isolation is key. Forget the noisy dorm lounges or crowded library floors. Find those hidden carrels, less visited libraries, or quiet corners far from campus distractions. As Christine from Harvard bluntly states, studying in bed has never worked. This might sound a bit dramatic, but isolating yourself signals to your brain that it's serious work time, and it really boosts concentration. And for how long? The sweet spot is around 50 minutes of focused work, followed by a 10-minute intellectual breather. This isn't just arbitrary, it's backed by cognitive science and, more importantly, countless straight-A students who swear by it. Now, let's move to quizzes and exams. This is where the book really debunks the myth of cramming. Cal Newport boldly states that rote review, just reading and rereading your notes, is a horrible way to study. And it simply doesn't work. It's inefficient, painful, and leads to spotty success. So, if that's out, what do straight-A students do? They apply what Newport calls academic jump shots. It starts with taking smart notes. This isn't about fancy methods like Cornell notes, it's about making your notes work for you. For non-technical courses like history or literature, the goal is to capture big ideas. Think in terms of question, evidence, and conclusion. When a professor is lecturing, try to identify the main question they're addressing, the evidence they provide, and their ultimate conclusion, even if you have to fill in the question or conclusion later. This structure forces you to synthesize information in real time. For technical courses like math or science, it's all about sample problems. Focus on recording the problem statement and the answer first, then fill in the steps, and always ask questions about confusing parts. Next, you need to demo your assignments. This is a game changer. Most students spend way too much time on daily readings and problem sets, leaving no time for big exams or papers. Straight-A students avoid this by working constantly in small chunks rather than waiting until the day before. So, if you have a problem set due weekly, do one problem a day, not all 5 hours the night before. And here's the radical part: don't read everything. It's impossible. Instead, try your ratings based on an importance hierarchy. Ratings that make an argument are most important, then those that describe an event or person, and least important are those that only provide context. This allows you to focus your precious time where it matters most. Skimming or even skipping the less crucial stuff. For problem sets, work in groups, use office hours, and try to solve problems on the go. Let your mind chew on them while you're walking, showering, or doing chores. Once the exam looms, you need to marshal your resources. This means organizing all your material. For non-technical courses, cluster your notes by topic to create a study guide. For technical courses, build mega problem sets by combining your graded assignments with sample problems from your lecture notes, and add technical explanation questions to ensure you understand the underlying concepts, not just the steps. And don't forget flashcards for memorization, but spread the memorization work out over several days. Because your mind can only take so much at once, the true magic happens when you conquer the material using the quiz and recall method. This is the single most efficient way to study. Instead of passively rereading, you actively quiz yourself. For non-technical notes, turn your existing QAC notes into a practice quiz. Then, for each question, try to articulate the answer aloud in complete sentences. Best if you're given a lecture. If you can do this unaided, you've imprinted the concept. Mark the questions you struggle with, review the answer, take a short break, and then repeat, focusing only on the marked questions until you get them all right. The beauty is, you spend the most time on what you don't know and the least on what you do, making it incredibly efficient. The same method applies to technical courses. Actively solve problems and explain the steps. Finally, academic disaster insurance and answers. The insurance is all about eliminating question marks, those little topics you didn't quite understand in class. Don't leave them for exam review. Ask questions in class, talk to your professor after lecture, ask classmates, or go to review sessions. Get those confusions cleared up immediately so they don't come back to bite you on the exam. And when it comes to the test itself, don't just dive in, review the entire exam first. This helps you relax and primes your brain. Build a time budget so you know exactly how much time you have for each question. Answer questions from easy to hard. This builds confidence and saves your focus for the tricky ones. And for essays, always outline first on scratch paper before writing. Then, if you have any time left, check and recheck your work. It can make a huge difference. Okay, that brings us to essays and papers. This is often the most dreaded part of college academics. Most students combine research, thinking, and writing into one agonizing, drawn-out process, but the straight approach, once again, is to separate these components into distinct, manageable challenges. It starts with targeting a titillating topic. For research papers, choose something that genuinely excites your curiosity. Then, for thesis hunting expedition, Newport suggests a simple but powerful strategy. Start general, then move one layer deep. Find a broad overview source, then dive into its bibliography to find more specific articles and books. Where you're more likely to stumble upon a unique, supportable thesis idea. Once you have a budding thesis, the crucial third step is to seek a second opinion, specifically from your professor. It might feel like a shortcut, but it's actually an incredible resource. They can tell you if your idea is appropriate, too broad, or too simple, and often suggest additional sources. This saves you from going down a research rabbit hole only to realize your premise is flawed pages later. Then you research like a machine. This is not about accumulating endless books. The key is to make personal copies of all relevant material, photocopy chapters, print articles, and then annotate them concisely. This way, all your sources are portable, easy to organize, and ready to be marked up. And how do you know when you're done researching? There's a research termination procedure that helps you decide if you have enough crucial and helpful sources to support your argument. Now for the fun part, crafting a powerful story. This is the intellectual eureka moment where you connect all your research and form your argument. There's no strict formula, but it involves letting ideas marinate, taking walks, talking to friends, and constantly revisiting your source material. The goal here is to create a topic-level outline. This isn't a super detailed sentence-by-sentence outline, it's a list of all the main points you'll discuss in order, and here's the best part, you actually type supporting quotes directly into your outline. This might sound like over-outlining, but it's brilliant because it means that when you actually sit down to write, all your evidence is already organized and right there in front of you. Before writing, you consult your expert panel. This means getting feedback on your outline from friends, especially those in the same class, and crucially, your professor again. This is your final push to refine your argument and ensure it's compelling before you commit it to prose. And then you write without the agony. If you followed the previous steps, writing becomes surprisingly straightforward. Your argument is solid, your outline is detailed, and your sources are at your fingertips. The agony of endless searching for quotes or trying to figure out your next point is gone. You simply articulate your already well-developed argument. Newport also advises separating your writing from research and editing to keep your mind fresh and to write in quiet isolation during your high-energy periods. Finally, don't fixate. Editing is important, but you don't want to get stuck in endless revisions. The book proposes a precise three-pass system. First, the argument adjustment pass on your computer, where you focus on clarity, coherence, and major structural issues. Second, and this is the most critical one, the out loud pass. You print out your paper, go somewhere private, and read it aloud. Seriously, articulate every word. This is a magical way to catch awkward phrasing, grammatical errors, and typos that your brain might skip over when reading silently. And third, a quick sanity pass on a printed copy, just to catch any last stray mistakes and give you that satisfying feeling of closure before you hit submit. This book is so much more than just a collection of study tips. It's an empowering manifesto that encourages you to take control of your academic journey and, by extension, your entire college experience. It tells you that you don't have to be stressed, sleep-deprived, or antisocial to achieve academic excellence. In fact, it argues that a well-balanced life, where you study hard and party hard and get enough sleep, is not only possible but the most logically defensible way of doing things. For anyone feeling overwhelmed by college work, or just wanting to level up their productivity, I can recommend How to Become a Straight Student Enough. It's not about magic tricks, but about practical, proven strategies that real students have honed through trial and error. It will fundamentally change how you approach learning, making it less of a chore and more of a satisfying, focused activity. So go check it out, put these ideas into practice, and then, as Cal Newport himself suggests, pass it on. Share this knowledge with your friends who are still stuck in the pseudo-working all-nighter cycle. Let them know it doesn't have to be that way. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments below if you've read this book or have any other amazing study tips. See you next time.